India's tour of Sri Lanka came to an end with the visitors winning the one-day series and the hosts clinching the T20 leg. Summarizing this series in that way does not really reflect how much of good this series may have done for the Lankans. It was an encouraging performance from a team that has been struggling in many ways. They've found a new leader who seems to have unified this team and a few players who are fighters on the pitch. Now let's have a look at how these guys have fared individually. Let's start with the batsmen. Avishka Fernando. This right-handed explosive batsman looked to be getting back into his usual groove after going through a bad patch. Although he scored a couple of 50s in the ODI leg, he looked a little tentative and his strike rate has gone down significantly. He will be keen to build on the performances he had against India when Sri Lanka take the field again. Hasaranga. What a find this elegant left-hander has been for Sri Lanka on this tour. He was knocking on the doors for a long while now and his performance here has been refreshing, especially after what happened in England. He looked quite nervous in his first innings, but once he got that first half century in the second game, he seemed to grow in confidence. He played a great hand in Sri Lanka's spirited fight back in the second ODI and unleashed his fearless batting in the first T20. Unfortunately, he had to sit out the rest of the T20s due to an injury. Rajapaksa. Rajapaksa looked good with the bat in his limited appearances during the tour. Even though it will be a nagging question if he is apt for number 3 in ODIs, he did put up a couple of decent knocks. His 65 in the last ODI was a knock that will give him plenty of confidence. Dhananjay De Silva. Following a good tour in England, much was expected from DDS in the 50-over series. Being very critical, one should say he did not live up to it. His shot selection throughout the tour, even on his good days, was not great. Nevertheless, he did put up a couple of calm knocks to see Sri Lanka home in the T20s, which eventually helped the hosts win the series. Vinod Bhanukar. This wicket-keeper batsman showed signs of brilliance in his stroke play here and there, but never really proved his worth at the international stage. His nerves failed to ease even after playing 2 entire series. He also seemed to have a block on the offside and did not play a single straight batted shot that pierced the offside ring. Sri Lanka will be hoping that this young batsman can come back strongly. Sadira Samaravikrama and Ashin Bandara. Two of Sri Lanka's most promising young batsmen made no significant mark with the chances they were given. Ashin looked lost at the crease while the tension in Sadira's face was a sign of his impending dismissals. It was a golden opportunity for these youngsters and you have to say they kind of blew it. It's time now to have a look at a couple of superstars in the all-rounders section. Dasun Shanaka. The Sri Lankan skipper should have been considered mostly as a batsman, but let's face it, his batting was not great on this tour. The rating he has got is purely for his captaincy, smart bowling and terrific fielding. Shanaka may not be the best captain Sri Lanka has ever had, but he sure is learning. With the ball in hand, he was one of the smartest in this series. He assessed the surface pretty well and bowled to his strengths. He was particularly brilliant in the T20s. Wanindu Hasaranga. What a star this youngster is turning out to be. If there was anything lacking from him, it was his batting. If not, we would have given him maximum ratings for his performance. Even though his ODI stats aren't very attractive on this tour, it had more to do with the Indians seeing off this leg spinner and capitalizing on the weaker bowlers on the other end. Chamika Karunaratne. Chamika Karunaratne is a gem for Sri Lanka cricket. These were the words of his captain at the end of the tour and everyone will accept that he deserves it. He showed tremendous character and played the true brand of fearless cricket that Sri Lanka cricket had been talking about. He's the kind of bowler who keeps the pressure intact and allows the strike bowler from the other end to do the wicket taking. And that was a job well done during this tour. His batting was so good that many would have probably thought he is a batting all-rounder. He's got good power and a calm head to be that perfect finisher Sri Lanka has been searching for. Let's move on to the bowlers now. Dushmantha Chamika. This lean speedster is in the form of his life. Silently, he has been a huge part of Sri Lanka's success lately. He regularly picked up early wickets and bowled his heart out even in games where batsmen let them down. Shanaka. Sri Lanka placed a lot of trust in this left-arm unorthodox spinner, only to see him get thrashed around the park by the Indians. Shanaka had zero control over his bowling and was all over the place. Once he took the kind of beating he did in the second ODI, there was no coming back. Praveen Jayavikrama. In the one-off game this young left-armer got, he did impress everyone with his skillful bowling. This was his first one-day game on home soil and he did look the goods on a turning surface. Akila Dhananjaya. Akila Dhananjaya is having a decent comeback to international cricket. He is just getting his bearings right and definitely looks to be improving in every game. His ploy of using more leg breaks as opposed to his stock deliveries seems to be paying off. Ramesh Mendis and Isuru Udana. Isuru Udana's form of course was a question mark in this series, but Ramesh Mendis could not shine enough because of the lack of opportunities he got. These two bowlers were rotated around to balance out the playing 11, and Mendis only had a tiny role to play, being the third spinner in the team. Yes, it was not the best tour Sri Lankan team has ever had at home, but given the circumstances this team is in, these performances were heartening. What do you think of our ratings? Tell us in the comment section below.
For premium content and exclusive member benefits, subscribe to thepapare.com today.